What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Well. What did I tell you? I just recently did a video yesterday talking about Amir Khan, and now I read an article saying that they're close to finalizing a deal with his opponent. And in my video, I said that they were going to give somebody, because the video was about Amir Khan, his April fight. They were looking for a partner or an opponent, and they went through Sinchenko, Josecito, and neither one of them wanted to drop down that low, that close to 140, giving Amir Khan a catchweight advantage. Um, so those fights weren't made. Now it looks like Josecito's moving on to fight Maidana. I don't know what Sinchenko's going to do. So they had to look for an opponent in the 140-pound division. And as you guys know, some opponents aren't available, like Zab Judah and Danny Garcia. That fight was supposed to take place in February, but it's postponed. So even if they wanted to, that fight couldn't be made. Brandon Rios and Mike Alvarado is scheduled next month. So despite them being with Top Rank and Amir Khan being with Golden Boy, most likely that fight wouldn't have been made for that reason. But it couldn't be made just based on the fact that they already have a fight in March. So there would be no way that they would be able to have another fight the very next month for a new opponent. So they're running out of options, and it looks like they found somebody. And just as I predicted in the video, they're giving him an opponent that nobody wants to see him fight, Julio Diaz, who is dropping down from 147 pounds because he fights at welterweight currently. He had a draw in his last fight against Sean Porter. And to me, I wasn't highly impressed with Sean Porter. He seems like a likable person. He has power, but he did seem kind of sloppy in the fights that I've seen him in. He didn't look like an elite level. Like when I talk about up and coming talent, I look at people like Mikey Garcia, Adrian Broner, Gary Russell Jr., even Canelo. I mean, these guys all show some level of growth and the ability to do big things in the sport as time progresses and as they grow and stick to their craft, if they stick to it, and that kind of stuff. But when I looked at Sean Porter, I wasn't really impressed. I didn't look at him as the next person to beat. So his last fight, Julio Diaz had a draw with Sean Porter. He made it a tough fight, but again, you got to realize this guy is coming from welterweight, 147, and dropping down to, I believe they said 143, which is very close to Amir Khan's 140-pound weight. And we all know that Amir Khan has blistering hand speed. Plus, he's catch weighting Julio Diaz. Plus, I mean, I'm not saying Julio Diaz doesn't have a shot, because anybody, it's a sport of boxing, anyone technically has a shot. But realistically, that's matchmaking. I mean, this is a guy who is taking 7 losses, 5 of those losses by KO or TKO, and he had a draw in his very last fight, so he didn't look spectacular in his last fight. He does have either equal or greater height than Amir Khan, but that's about the only major advantage. He probably has a better chin than Khan, maybe, but in terms of speed, he's definitely lacking. Amir Khan is much faster than him. Um, so I just hate this matchmaking shit. And again, this guy is a welterweight dropping down to catchweight to make this fight happen in the UK. So I don't really like it. I don't think it's a good fight. This guy, Julio Diaz, hasn't fought at 140 since 2010, and it's 2013. So any of you guys that know anything about weight, you'll know that 1 pound, 2 pounds, 3 pounds, 4 pounds, all that makes a difference, especially in the sport of boxing. Boxing is a one-on-one combat sport. Um, you look at fights like Miguel Cotto versus Pacquiao, Chad Dawson versus Andre Ward, and now don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that either of those fights would have been different in terms of the winner. I think Andre Ward beats Chad Dawson at 175, even if he were to move up, just based on his level of ring generalship and skill and taking his opponent's best weapons away. Um, at the time, I would still give Pacquiao an edge, but I still feel these fights would have been closer fights, and you never truly really know what would have happened if Andre Ward did go up to 175 and Chad Dawson was comfortable. Again, I still think Andre Ward would have beaten him, and Pacquiao probably would have beat Cotto if he didn't catch weight him. But I mean, I can't be, especially with the Pacquiao situation, I can't be certain because they were even trying to do a Pacquiao rematch with Cotto, and Cotto didn't want to do the catch weight. He said, "Come up to 154 and I'll fight you," and they declined. So obviously, they believe in the catch weight system with the Pacquiao camp, and thought that gave them the best odds of winning. But I'm not a huge catch weight person, especially in these situations, and that's why I really respect Gabriel Rosado and what he did by having the opportunity to fight K9 Bundridge for a belt. And you just seen Ishe Smith beat K9 Bundridge, so I think Gabriel Rosado definitely has the tools and the skill set to beat K9 Bundridge as well. Um, and he chose to go up in weight, which was initially contracted to be at a catchweight to fight Gennady Golovkin, which would have gave him a better shot because he held his own even though Gennady Golovkin was hitting harder and it cut him early. Um, he still hung around until the blood just became too much. So imagine if they fought at a catchweight. You never know because at points of that fight, Gennady Golovkin looked like he was starting to get a mouse under his eye. It looked like he was slowing down and possibly fatiguing a little bit as well. So at a catchweight, who knows how easy Gennady Golovkin can make 154 or the catchweight that they had. He says he can drop down to 154, and they had a catchweight, I think, 158 or something like that. So 2 pounds, 3 pounds, 4 pounds, that all makes a difference in the sport of boxing. That's the moral of the story. So back to Amir Khan, Julio Diaz. This fight is not a fight that I care about. Of course, I'll watch it because I watch boxing. Um, I think it's a spoon-fed match made in heaven for Amir Khan, somebody who is coming down in weight, so he's doing the catch weight. Someone who hasn't weighed that weight since 2010. Someone who had a draw in their last fight. It's not like they're on this vicious win streak. Somebody that's been knocked out five times and lost 7 times. It's just not. It doesn't even seem like a good person to put on Amir Khan's resume. Again, I think they're still in the stage, and this is what I was mentioning in the previous video. They're in the stage of rebuilding Amir Khan and trying to get his confidence back because they want to keep that UK market. I'm telling you guys. Some of you guys don't want to listen to me, but I'm telling you, Golden Boy, there Oscar De La Hoya was a fighter, Richard Schaefer is a businessman, but you got to think about it. Oscar De La Hoya is no longer a boxer. He's a businessman. So the things they do, the moves they make with their fighters, it's because it's a business, and that's the sport of boxing. There's a lot of money to be made in the sport of boxing. Mayweather going over to Showtime for a 6-fight deal and all this. This is because it's a business. They're making business moves. Mayweather, HBO for the most part, besides his little beef with Larry Merchant, and sometimes they're biased towards Mayweather. He spent his whole career on HBO, and all of a sudden he left because he worked out some super mega deal with CBS and Showtime. That's because it's a business. This is no different. Amir Khan and Golden Boy, I guarantee you, they're looking at it and trying to give these low risk fights to him. One, they're doing a fight in the UK. Amir Khan's from the UK. He has a large fan base. I'll never take that away from him. He has a large fan base, and since he's really became popular, I've noticed he's always had fan base, um, and they don't want him to lose. That's the bottom line. There's a chance that he could lose just because it's the sport of boxing, but again, that's why they're trying to catch weight fighters. That's why they're trying to, especially in the UK, they don't want him to lose at home. And the UK is a big market. Of course, they want to tap into that. That's a whole different it's a whole different group of people. It's a whole different market. So they're basically just trying to capitalize on that, and they don't want him to lose. That's why they didn't hand him a fight like Lucas Matisse, because Lucas Matisse is a killer, and they don't want to. They know Lucas Matisse has a good shot of beating Amir Khan at home. Same thing with Lamont Peterson. Lamont Peterson was begging, or excuse me, Amir Khan was begging for the Peterson rematch. He begged for it. And then obviously Peterson got caught up with the testosterone PEDS scandal and all that, and he was out of the sport for 15 months. But now, Kendall Holt just lost to Lamont Peterson in an impressive performance. And are they trying to make the Amir Khan versus Lamont Peterson? That could be The Kendall Holt versus Peterson fight was called Redemption. This could be Redemption. Amir Khan versus Peterson. That would be the Redemption fight to me. You know what I mean? Amir Khan lost to Peterson in a controversial way. The ref took 2 points. Then he got busted for the PED scandal. This could be the end all be all. So, are they trying to make that fight? No, they're trying to match Lamont Peterson with Lucas Matisse. A fight that I definitely would love to see, but it's because it's a business. They're banking on, and that's what they've been doing. They're banking on certain fighters to win and hoping that they like. I'm telling you, Josecito Lopez was a pawn. Austin Trout was a pawn, and it just so happened that Josecito and Austin Trout upset their opponent. So Josecito upset Victor Ortiz, and that ruined the plan that they had for September for Victor Ortiz, a big name or a bigger name than Josecito at the time, to fight Canelo. Austin Trout was supposed to lose to Cotto, and then they were going to make a Cotto versus Canelo fight, two big names, and it's a business. And this is no different. They're banking on Danny Garcia beating Zab Judah, and they want Zab Judah to lose, or they expect him to lose, I guess you could say. I'm not saying they want him to lose, but they expect him to lose, and they're trying to make a mega rematch in the fall, Danny Garcia versus Amir Khan. That's why they're not trying to let anyone stand in the way. Now, if Julio Diaz can pull off the upset, cool, good for him, but the odds are stacked against him. He has a hostile crowd he's dealing with in the UK. Amir Khan's from Bolton or whatever, and Amir Khan has a speed advantage and that kind of thing. So I seen this coming. I told you they're not going to feed him a killer. They wouldn't give him, even if Brandon Rios wasn't with Top Rank or wasn't fighting Alvarado, I guarantee you they would not have Brandon Rios come to the UK to fight Amir Khan at 140 for this fight in April, even if everything permitted. Same thing with Lucas Matisse. That's why they're not giving him somebody even like a Jose or Bradis Prescott. Like I said in the last video, you guys just need to start listening to me. It's because they don't want him to lose. Because they know if you take a loss, then that ruins, that creates a ripple in the pond, so to speak. They were already banking on Pacquiao beating Marquez in the fourth fight so they can make a Brandon Rios. And that's Top Rank, but it's the same business politics. They were thinking Pacquiao was going to win again. He's supposedly won the first three fights, minus the draw or whatever. But that's what they were hoping, and they're planning for the future. And then something happens, and it creates a ripple in the pond. That's why we're not seeing a Pacquiao versus Brandon Rios, at least for the moment, because Pacquiao is on back-to-back losses. So Top Rank is going to try to preserve what they can. They don't want Brandon Rios to have seen Pacquiao get knocked out and then go in and try to take this guy's head off and pull another upset, because then that'll be 3 losses in a row for Pacquiao. So they're trying to preserve it. And you might be like, oh, how are they trying to preserve it, but they're trying to make a Marquez 5? Yes, that is true. And Pacquiao does have a chance to get knocked out or lose again to Marquez, which would make his third loss in a row. However, if he loses to Marquez, for the promoters, it'll be all worth it, because that's a hell of a lot of money that they would make for the Pacquiao versus Marquez Part 5, just based on the saga and the whole trilogy and the fourth fight and the outcomes of all those fights. It'd be so much money that they would make, it wouldn't matter. So that's basically it. I also got some comments on the last video, and people inboxed me and all that. And I mentioned in the video that I said Amir Khan is the biggest active current UK fighter. And somebody, actually a couple people said, no, he's not, Amir Khan is. So just a little quick side note, just start listening to me, because Amir Khan is a bigger draw than Carl Froch. And I'm saying bigger because he is a bigger draw. I'm not saying he's better, because personally, I think Carl Froch is a better fighter. But he's a bigger draw. Amir Khan has been on HBO countless times. Peterson, Danny Garcia. He's also been on Showtime Network against Carlos Molina. He makes more money in the UK. For you guys that are in the UK, don't live in the States, Carl Froch and Butte was a big fight that a lot of people want to see in the boxing world. That wasn't even broadcast out here. You would have to stream it out here. It wasn't on any of the networks or anything. So Amir Khan is bigger. He was 23 mil is his net worth and Ricky Hatton's is 26. So that just goes to show you where he's at. Carl Froch is not on that level. Anyway, leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think. Subscribe. Hate. Until next video. Ego signing off.